the DNC, President Biden accused former President Trump of lying about the border crisis and saying it's more secure now than it was during the Trump administration.
Trump continues to lie about the border. Here's what he won't tell you. Trump killed the strongest bipartisan border deal in the history of the United States. The result of the executive action I took, border encounters have dropped over 50%. In fact, there are fewer border crossings today than when Donald Trump left office. And unlike Trump, we will not demonize immigrants, saying they're the poison of blood of America, poison the blood of our country.
But President Biden, of course, left out many things, including the victims of migrant crime, like the mother of 5, Rachel Morin, who was allegedly raped and murdered by an illegal immigrant in 2023. Her family is set to meet with former President Trump on Thursday during his visit to the southern border. Randolph Rice is the attorney for Rachel Morin's family, and he joins me now. Randolph, good morning to you. So by President Biden's retelling, I mean, you just heard it. He saved the day, according to him, when it comes to the southern border. Is that how Rachel Morin's family sees it?
Absolutely not. The family is still heartbroken over the fact that this was a preventable death. Had they enforced the rules and the laws at the southern border, Rachel Morin would be alive today. I mean, the Biden administration is playing a game of Red Rover and really saying, Red Rover, send your criminals right over. And those criminals are coming here and killing and raping, robbing and committing numerous crimes, different types of crimes all across America. And this administration just seems to look the other way and say, oh, don't worry about it. This is, the stats have gone down. Everything's fine, which is not the case. Yeah, no, it most certainly isn't. And some of the other things that he left out in that speech are all the illegal immigrants who have spoken to Fox News reporters and thanked Joe Biden on camera for allowing them into the country, and all of the executive orders that he reversed on day one because he said that they were cruel and inhumane. And when you look at what happened over the past 3.5 years, look at the cruel and inhumane things that happened to Rachel Morin and her family, who are still mourning her loss. And by Joe Biden now claiming to be tough on the border, it really is an admission that his previous soft on border stance was wrong, but the damage is irreversible. There are known terrorists or people on the terror watch list who are in this country. There are people with criminal records who are in this country, and it's going to be very difficult to get those people out of the country, which means that there could be more victims in the future. And Carla, you're exactly right. You make a lot of great points there about obviously the crime, the fentanyl that's coming across the border. And I'm telling you, there is a potential for a terrorist attack because we have not secured our border, preventing terrorists from coming over that border from other countries to plan and attack this country. So there is a solution to this. The first one is you shut down the border. That's number one, day one. Number two is we have enough judges and enough lawyers in this country, just like the criminal justice system, to say, listen, you have 6 months. You're going to be appointed a lawyer. We're going to start the asylum process, and we're going to determine if you need to stay here, if you can stay here or not. And if you can't, we're going to send you back home for where you came from.
Yeah, it seems as simple as that, but it's not happening right now. And now Mississippi officials are saying that there was this illegal immigrant who was arrested for allegedly raping a 10-year-old boy. There have been several rapes to take place in New York City over the past few weeks. So this is a trend that we're now seeing. Randolph, when it comes to Rachel's killer, he was already wanted for murdering a woman in El Salvador. How did he get into the country? Did he evade border security?
Well, we know he came across at least 3 times detected, and then he came across a 4th time undetected. But here's what's interesting. A recent report says that everybody that comes across that border should have been DNA swabbed. Had this man be DNA swabbed, and by the way, it's a $4 kit that takes 30 seconds that the Border Patrol has not been enforcing the law. Had he been swabbed, they would have known who he was when he committed the crimes in Los Angeles in March, which would give us the name that hopefully we would have caught him and prevented Rachel's death. So another chance that the Biden administration has not taken part in preventing the death of Rachel Morin.
Wow. So just a simple DNA swab. And then there are also other stories from parents who've lost children to illegal immigrants. And then they say that the migrant who killed their child has gang tattoos on their bodies, and somehow they were allowed into the country because when they were checked at the border, apparently they weren't body searched. So are these some of the things that Rachel's family might talk to Donald Trump about when they visit him on Thursday? I believe that meeting is happening in Arizona.
Certainly. And, this is not the first time President Trump has had the Morin family to meet with him numerous times. But yes, this is something they're going to talk about, because the irony of this is that in El Salvador, where this man is from, they're locking up all of the gang members. And because they know that they want to make their street safe, yet they come here and they commit rapes and they commit murders. So had he been in El Salvador, he would be locked up and this would have never happened. But he comes here, he's allowed across the border, and he ultimately is alleged to have killed Rachel Morin.
Yeah, and she was a beautiful woman. She has a beautiful family of 5 children. And like you said at the start of this interview, her death was preventable. Randolph, thank you so much for joining us this morning.